Have you ever believed that, even in the most hopeless situations, a miracle could still occur? This story begins with a young man, a millionaire in a vegetative state, and a family torn apart by deep emotional wounds. But everything changed in a single moment. Ethan Carter, a 25-year-old young man, walked through the long marble-tiled hallway of a towering building in the heart of the city. This was not a place Ethan, a newly graduated nurse from a small school, had ever imagined stepping into. The borrowed uniform seemed too large for his slender frame, but that was the least of his worries at that moment. He was on his way to care for one of the most extraordinary patients he'd ever encountered. Robert Hayes, a renowned millionaire with immense wealth, now lying motionless in a vegetative state. Ethan took this job with a singular purpose: to earn enough money to pay for his mother's medical bills as she battled late-stage cancer. As the elevator doors opened, Ethan was greeted by an opulent space. Priceless artwork adorned the walls, and crystal chandeliers reflected light onto the gleaming marble floors. Everything exuded an overwhelming sense of luxury. But Ethan didn't let himself be distracted. Clenching his fists tightly, he whispered to himself, "Stay calm. This is more than just a job. It's my one chance to change my life." When the grand doors swung open, Clara Hayes, Robert's eldest daughter, stood there. Her piercing gaze scanned Ethan from head to toe. "You're the new nurse? Let's hope you do your job better than you look," she said, her voice dripping with skepticism. Stepping into the room where Robert lay, Ethan was instantly struck by the scene. This was not just an apartment. It was a miniature hospital equipped with the most advanced medical devices he had ever seen. But above all, what drew Ethan's attention was the man on the bed. Motionless, with a gaunt face that still bore traces of authority, Robert Hayes seemed both fragile and dignified. Ethan took a deep breath, bracing himself for the task ahead. Little did he know, the days to come would change his life forever. On his first day working in the luxurious apartment, Ethan felt not only the weight of his responsibilities, but also the constant scrutiny of Clara. She seemed to be everywhere, from the patient's room to the staff resting area. She asked him relentless questions, as though she were determined to uncover any mistake he might make. Ethan understood that, to Clara, he was not just a nurse, he was someone who needed to prove his worth in her eyes. As Ethan examined Robert's motionless body, he realized that the man was more than just a vegetative patient. Though Robert neither moved nor opened his eyes, his face bore an unusual serenity. Ethan wondered if Robert could somehow sense the world around him. This thought motivated him not only to care for Robert's physical needs, but also to spend time talking to him, as if the man could hear every word. One afternoon, while Ethan was replacing an IV line, Clara appeared in the doorway. "Do you really think talking to my father will make any difference?" she asked, her tone dripping with sarcasm. Ethan paused, looked at her, and responded sincerely, "I don't know if you can hear me, but I believe that when someone is treated as though they're still alive, it can change something, however small." Clara said nothing, but her eyes carried a flicker of emotion that Ethan couldn't quite decipher. A week after starting the job, Ethan noticed something unusual. While holding Robert's hand during an examination, he felt a faint but distinct squeeze. At first, he thought he was imagining it, but the phenomenon repeated itself. Ethan could no longer keep this discovery to himself. He immediately told Clara and Henry. Clara dismissed it outright. "It's just a reflex. My father can't wake up," she said coldly. But Henry's reaction was different. He began spending more time by Robert's bedside, holding his hand and speaking to him as though he could hear. "If you're right, Ethan, this is what our family has been waiting for," Henry said, his eyes brimming with hope. From that moment on, Henry became Ethan's only ally in the house. Each evening, after Clara had left, Henry and Ethan would sit by Robert's side, recounting old family stories, opening photo albums, and playing his favorite music. Although there were no further reactions from Robert, both men felt a profound connection. Everything changed one quiet evening. Ethan was monitoring Robert's vital signs when the alarms from the machines blared unexpectedly. Robert was having violent convulsions. The monitors displayed erratic and chaotic numbers. Remaining remarkably calm, Ethan sprang into action. He adjusted the medical equipment and took all necessary steps to stabilize Robert. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead as he focused intensely on the task at hand. Clara and Henry rushed into the room, terrified. Henry wanted to help but didn't know how. Clara, for the first time, was silent. Her eyes betrayed genuine fear. After several tense minutes that felt like hours, Ethan successfully stabilized Robert's condition. The room fell quiet, with only the steady beeping of the monitors breaking the silence. When the doctor arrived to assess the situation, he praised Ethan. "Your quick thinking and precise actions saved his life." But Clara remained unmoved. "It's just prolonging the inevitable," she said flatly, as if trying to suppress her true emotions. Following the incident, Clara called a family meeting. "I think it's time we stop this. Father has been on life support for too long. He wouldn't want to live like this," she declared firmly. Henry vehemently disagreed. "You can't give up. Father still has a chance. Ethan has seen the signs." The two siblings argued intensely, but Clara ultimately decided to proceed with her plan. As the fateful day approached, Ethan spent the entire night sitting by Robert's side, whispering words of encouragement. "You have to fight, Mr. Hayes. Your family needs you. I know you can hear me." In that moment, Ethan noticed something strange. Robert's eyes seemed to twitch. Ethan leaned in closer, studying his face. The faintest blink confirmed his suspicions. The following morning, as the family gathered to prepare for the withdrawal of life support, Ethan, though knowing he had no authority to intervene, couldn't remain silent. "I think he still has a chance. Please, just give him a little more time," he pleaded. But Clara wouldn't listen. Just as the doctor was about to disconnect the machines, a miracle happened. Robert's eyes opened. Slowly, he scanned the room, his gaze filled with emotion despite their cloudiness. His trembling hand reached out to Clara. She burst into tears, throwing her arms around him. "Dad," she cried, her voice echoing through the room. Henry knelt beside the bed, tears streaming down his face. The doctors quickly performed a series of tests. Robert wasn't just awake, he was beginning to recover. The medical staff couldn't explain what had happened scientifically. But for Ethan, the explanation didn't matter. He knew that faith and perseverance had made the impossible possible. Following Robert's recovery, the Hayes family began to heal their old wounds. Clara, who had once been cold and controlling, became warmer and more understanding. She admitted to Henry that she had been wrong to give up hope so quickly. Overcome with emotion, Henry forgave her. Together, they vowed to do everything in their power to care for their father. Ethan was invited to stay on as Robert's private nurse throughout his recovery. One day, Robert told him, "Ethan, you didn't just save my life. You brought hope back to my family." For Ethan, those words were the greatest reward he could receive. The story of Ethan and Robert is not just a medical miracle. It is a testament to the power of hope, perseverance, and compassion. Ethan was not merely a nurse. He became a bridge between life and death, an inspiration that helped a family rediscover their faith. Through this story, we learn, never give up hope, even in the darkest of times. Sometimes, it is the smallest individuals with unwavering belief who can bring about the greatest changes. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Is there something you've given up on too soon? Is there someone who needs you by their side to find light in their life? If this story touched your heart, hit the subscribe button on Life Stories 365. Here, we share the most meaningful stories to help you explore the values of life and overcome challenges. Let us walk this journey with you. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And if you loved this story, share it to spread the message of love and hope to others. Thank you for watching. We deeply appreciate your support.